And when your eyes are closed, and you allow continuously to become a quiet in your mind, would you get ready to open your arms? See what happens. When you are fully ready, allow it. Which you get ready to go higher. And as soon as you are ready, allow it and feel yourself in emotion. Wherever you happen to be, get ready to go with your hands over your eyes, but don't yet. Feel how it feels. And when you are ready, allow it. And would you get ready to leave your eyes and come down with your arms? Feel how it feels. And when it comes, you're allowed to happen. As simple as that. So could we interrupt once more? Would you come to sitting once more? Each discovery is new. In other words, we don't repeat ourselves. We permit that what happens, and it may be astonishing. Maybe Pat has already spoken once. Maybe she has something else to tell us now, you know. Whatever happens, that doesn't mean she must, but it could be that's different each time what we feel. Yeah, what you
When we allowed the eyes to open and the mind to remain quiet, or be quiet with the eyes open, I suddenly felt that I see. I don't know how to describe that, but it was the vision was much wider and clearer, reminded me of session, of that in order to be quiet, I didn't have to shield myself. I didn't have to shut out. It could all be there clearly without shutting anything out.
Yeah.
And just what you said about then just to let that go and let the next time be the next time.
It's a new time.
Right.
Yeah.
I was inspired by Pat's report last time when she said her hand really came up by itself, and so I was kind of wondering if mine really would too. And it did. And it was astounding to not do it. Allow it to come up. And when my hands came up to my eyes, I got quite a bit taller.
What is the state in? How does your state change when you are getting ready? I mean, what anybody says is not what you all should feel. Everybody has his own experience. Yeah.
Getting ready this time in a number of the experiments had to do for me with an activation. First, when we began to lean forwards, I felt a pattern of activation in my upper legs. And then, to my surprise, when I went forwards, which I didn't have to do, just went, this place that had been, I'm afraid the best I can do right now is activated. I can't come closer than that. The weight shifted right there. And then we had to move forwards, and I felt a kind of activation. It wasn't excluding any part of myself, but just a sense lower down.
So your legs and feet.
Well, lower for the second coming forwards. And sure enough, when I came forwards, that was exactly where the weight had to shift and come through. And the same with the mind. And so I found this relationship of a kind of activation, then the weight shifting, and then the breath coming.
Isn't it very strange? When the mind becomes quieter, she feels activation. Very interesting. Who felt anything like that? Anything else? We are in a laboratory. Get on your tiptoes, please. Yeah.
I'm beginning to be afraid I talk too much.
Here comes our red scientist, Pat.
This evening I'm hot, right? Well, this is about that.
Yeah.
When the last time the arms came up, there was something about the wideness that came up with my chest much wider than usual. Wasn't in here like this. And there was something in my legs also that felt wider, more open, and more free in here. And I could feel this whole, pelvic area. And what I realized was that over the last few days, what's been happening for me is a real shift in my openness. It's just a possibility of, of being freer. And what it made me think of was today when we were in Healdsburg, I tried on a pair of culottes that were rayon, bright orange with patterns in them. And every time I would look at myself in the mirror, I would... it was like, that was the feeling with the arms open. It was like, there's a readiness, there's an openness that's just bubbling through.
Did you buy that?
In other words, it's not induced, it comes by itself. And seemingly, it doesn't make you sane. Has anybody felt anything about, in this experiment, of how it actually affected you? What happened when you felt you got more ready or something? Yeah? Just maybe a word, or just what happened, For whom was it drudgery? Drudgery.
Contact with the floor.
What? Contact with the floor?
I think for me, it's when I become ready for something, I tap into energy. There's something that occurs, and I would call it energy. It has different qualities. Today, after tapping with Pat in this jumping, I was just incredibly awake all day. It continued and it continued and it continued, and somehow I thought I should take a nap at one point, and I was just on this roll in a way. And I really feel that this attention that I was speaking of, awareness, we call this sensory awareness, being just alerted, is becoming energy. We are energy, but kind of like...
all become cooks,
Well, I kind of feel like I'm being cooked by... it's in a way kind of bizarre, because it's like inhabiting my own nature. And how can one inhabit one's own nature? Because this is, I feel like I just feel alive. So I think getting ready is tapping into energy. And for me, it has to do with certainly all sorts of, it's always different, I think. There are these entrance ways in a way to it. And then if you get on it, it's like a roll, and it is.
So, stop.
No, I want to... Do I make myself clear? That's...
Very.
Do I win the Bumpkin Award?
it's possible that somebody really gets crazy with astonishment. It's very possible. What is it? What happens to me when I get ready for something? Dear friends, I give up my profession. When I don't know whether you felt obliged to be to here from 7:30 to 9:30, or whether it was it had contained, Yeah.
It just seems as if the tissues are anticipating, or it's like what and when, what's next.
In other words, they came alive and participated.
Yes.
Or how would you say? You say participating.
Well,
I like to know a little bit about the process,
Well, it just seems like everything is awake in me for what's going to happen next. And not expecting and not knowing, but just being there. It seems like all of it is there and working.
Yeah, the only difference is that I already tell you, ready for what? I'm asking. Where's Ute? Not just ready. For what? I always tell you, could you get ready to close your eyes? What? Or could you get ready to open your eyes? Or could you get ready? So, of course, there is a state of being where one is ready for anything. This is what my dear husband Charles Brooks claims. He says you don't have to tell me for what. I'm ready. So I question that. I think it's always something which is happening for which one becomes ready or is ready. In other words, it's always something which tunes us in and gets us going. Did you want to say something?
Yes, I did. But Penny has the microphone.
No, go ahead.
There must be something very strange in the air.
Why?
Which you don't speak out. And I'm...
Well, one reason I haven't spoken is because I feel like I have said it a number of times before, how it feels for me when I become ready. And
we have a very short memory.
Okay. What I notice is an immediate change in my breathing. My heart, sometimes I'm aware of my heart beating faster. And it feels to me as if, I started to say my body, my organism is becoming mobilized and at times as if molecules are coming to the surface. And I think it extends to any one of the situations, any one of the getting ready for this or that. And when you were saying earlier about Charles, it seems to me that you speak with us as if you would like for us to be ready for anything, and I think we have to be ready for anything because
nobody has to.
but life, we don't know what life is going to present us with, so it's important to be ready for anything.
That would be young born,
Would be what?
a youth well.
Well, I think attending a sensory awareness a study group is a good experiment as far as being ready for anything. That's the way it seems to me.
Would you give me a kiss? What is going to happen when you give me a kiss? Wait a minute. Get ready, boy. Tell us what happens. What is happening? What is happening? The important thing is to each time when you really allow the being tuned in for something, like in the dancing recently, you know, there are certain elements in our existence which come into play. And of course, when Asanasya says, for anything, that means whatever is coming about would tune you in. I would congratulate you. You know?
Thank you.
In other words, her ability to react comes very much more into play to whatever it is. So is there anything which you still hold secretly in your
This is not a secret, Charlotte.
yeah.
There are two things. One is I recognize that tonight you wanted to hear from me how it was for me tonight.
Tonight, in this moment,
Mm-hmm.
are you ready to speak?
I'm ready.
So, how does it feel?
Readiness.
You were sick before the class.
I still am.
Still, you're ready
Mm-hmm.
for speaking. So now, please, start out.
When you spoke about Charles and his difference with you about this, it reminds me that when I'm studying this work here, that often when you give a specific ready for a kiss, ready for whatever, and for example, when you said a kiss, I have a strong tendency to have an image. And so in the experimenting, and I think you did tonight, say be ready, but for what? That was somehow easier for me because then I didn't have an image.
Mm-hmm.
And when you said get ready to make circles, that was fine. And I had a faded image.
You had?
A faded image of circles. So for me, it's just a question of how I'm going to work with it. And the fact that I have an image is something for me to work out. Because I don't suspect it's necessary. But that's what happens for me.
Mm-hmm. There are two possibilities. Circle, you hear circle. And you hear make a circle. What happens, you know? It's a big question, you know. does it affect your mobility? A circle. Make a circle. Can you feel a circle? Can you feel when you get ready? Yeah. Yes, please. Mm-hmm.
Just at that moment when you were speaking about it, I was aware that I did not have an image. And right away it came to me that I wasn't going to have an experiment in which I was going to allow or make a circle. So I didn't, when you were just speaking about it, actually have an image. It was just the sound of the word circle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Was it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there anybody else still with something brewing?
Ich habe die Erfahrung gemacht, wenn ich bereit sein muss für etwas, Fuß zu heben oder eine Bewegung zu machen, dann ist es immer ein Vorvollzug.
Ist immer
ein Vorvollzug.
Ein
Vorvollzug. Anticipation.
Oh, Anticipation. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Und ich spüre entweder in der Hand oder im Bein oder je nachdem.
Wait a moment.
Die Bewegung schon in.
Musst du eine Bewegung machen oder kommt sie von selbst? She said when she has to make a movement, and I asked her, when you are ready, do you have to make the movement or does the movement come?
Wenn ich nur bereit bin für etwas, was ich nicht weiß, dann kommt es spontan. Und wenn ich aber mich auf etwas einstelle, da oder dorthin zu kommen, nur bereit werde für das, dann ist es ein Vorausgehen. Also
Moment, jetzt. In other words, will you translate it?
No.
But translate it exact, yeah?
I hope I'm able. But, so maybe if I forget something, somebody else can
I
help
can't
me.
hear you.
If I should forget something, I need help. As far as I understood Martina, when she gets ready without knowing that it is for something special, then she that what comes spontaneously about. But when she knows that she becomes ready for letting her hands come to for something special, then she feels this kind of anticipation. That's how I understood it.
Wait a minute. Anticipation.
She said Vorvollzug. Vorvollzug.
That's a word which I don't know in German. That means something happens before it happens.
It's not right.
She's right.
Would it be like a pull, like the attraction? No. Intuitive, yeah.
Like an image.
She's right. Before it comes to, when she hears something, she gets the feel of it. And that either brings her into motion. It's very possible. Sure.
And when she does know what it is, she said she feels it in her legs or somewhere in her. Something calls for her.